Hey there, got a question for you. What's your big why that gets you up every morning and brings meaning to your life? My big why is simple. It's to prevent you and as many others as possible in the world from experiencing the same fate that my family did, and to make our suffering worthwhile. And if you have had life smack you down, I'm here to guide you into the magnified rebound. However, I wasn't always an expert in elite performance mastery, resilience, and success. Quite the opposite. In fact, it feels like just yesterday that I sat trapped for hours, waiting for firefighters to cut me out of a car wreckage with the jaws of life. Time stood still as I experienced a pain so engulfing, so severe, that it seemed like I was vibrating outside of myself just to escape it. And while I didn't know it at the moment, I had broken 10 bones in my body, including my neck, my back, and both sides of my pelvis. You see, I had lost consciousness and while driving, and drove into a massive rock face in northern Canada at full speed. So, in case you don't know me, I am Dr. Irene. I am the founder of the Success Shift Institute, and I have dedicated my career to helping mission-driven high achievers bounce back and beyond from setbacks. And I'm thrilled to share my story with you. That setback that my clients may experience may be illness, it may be injury, it might be from career, relationships, their personal life, or, as so often happens, multiple areas all at once. Now, back to that fateful day. My injuries weren't the worst of it, believe it or not by far, because my two young sons were in the car with me that day. My 4-year-old son suffered a catastrophic brain injury and had to be airlifted 3 hours away to the nearest pediatric hospital to undergo emergency life-saving brain surgery. My 6-year-old developed PTSD from what he witnessed at the scene. And while I may not have intentionally meant to hurt them, the results were still the same. My inner judge and jury tried and convicted me of the worst heinous crime possible. It kept saying over and over and over again that I was a failure as a mother, a failure as a doctor, and I was a monster for almost killing my two young sons, those little beings that were the most important people on the face of this earth to me. The irony is that I had actually been trying to be Superwoman, the perfect single mom, the perfect doctor, the perfect business person. Instead, my young sons and I almost died just because I bypassed burnout and hit adrenal exhaustion, what I now call flameout syndrome. I had crashed and burned, literally. Now, does any of this resonate? Because I have a feeling I might have once been just like you. See, I had been so busy trying to be the perfect everything that I was on a collision course with adrenal exhaustion. And it was one I was too busy to see coming. All right. Frankly, I didn't want to see it coming or admit that I was susceptible. After all, I helped everyone else, and I did everything right by eating well and exercise and meditating and doing yoga. You get the picture? That's what thought did. Instead, I had developed a hidden physical condition that caused me to lose consciousness. Unfortunately, it happened while I was driving. The SARS epidemic of 2003, remember that time? Anybody? Was at its height, and I was under hospital quarantine. No one could visit me. Worse yet, I was going crazy with the fear for my sons because I couldn't see them. I literally had a 15-minute call with them each day. That was it. I spiraled down in self-pity and self-loathing, fear and guilt and depression, pouring salt on the wound of the constant physical pain. I honestly wondered if I could take any more, and if life was even worth living. Why me? I cried out, literally bawled out, sobbing in my dark hospital room all alone. However, in that darkest moment, lowest moment of my life, I realized I had a choice to make. I could continue to be sucked down into that hell of physical, mental, and emotional pain, or I could give myself the same grace that I would give to one of my patients or loved ones. That I was simply a doctor and a mother who had done what most of my colleagues still do every single day, which is putting everyone else first and sacrificing their own health, relationships, and personal life in their quest to save the world and to serve. We have been programmed to push ourselves to the brink and beyond, or risk being labeled lazy or failures. Our calling that we feel to help and serve ramps up that need to the nth degree. And most people, and I'm going to say, including doctors and health professionals, really truly don't recognize that chronic stress doesn't just show up as burnout, extreme fatigue, or even a mental breakdown. It can also manifest as brain fog, dropping the ball, making mistakes, or blowing up at coworkers or loved ones. It might also appear as diabetes, heart disease, or even cancer. And it can end up in a car accident, possibly taking lives. I had to admit, I was merely a statistic. One of hundreds of millions throughout the world who were chronically stressed, burned out, and on that slippery slope to adrenal exhaustion with all of its health complications. This has been a silent pandemic wreaking havoc on the world's mental, emotional, and physical health, directly causing or contributing to the top killers globally, killing more people worldwide than any other pandemic in history. Yes, including the most recent one. Worse, it's been encouraged by our society and the current programming around success that you have to prove your value by chasing that holy grail of achievement and money. We've been taught that chronic stress is a dirty secret and that we're lazy, weak, and failures if we admit to it. I've realized that with my education, my clinical experience, and now my personal experience, that I had the trifecta. I was the perfect one to bring this to light. I felt compelled to lead the charge, to eliminate the shame and stigma surrounding what I now call flameout syndrome, to eradicate it and its potentially catastrophic effects and consequences. I made a vow on that hospital bed to help others avoid our fate. So I spent the next few years preaching that Superwoman was just a comic character. I taught that self-care and life balance needed to be our number one priorities. And that is true to an extent. Because of the answers I now know, I've realized that we are all designed to be superheroes. And that stress actually triggers our superhuman power. Think of the stereotypical story of the 100-pound mother who lifts a car off her pinned child when she could not do that at any other time if you paid her even $1 million. However, we have been set up for failure and flameout syndrome by energy vampires that drain our superpowered energy resources. Think of it like our kryptonite. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can succeed at anything you choose. Be that real life hero for so many others, including yourself. And you can do it without sacrificing your health, relationships, or personal life. Why me has become my why. Now, I have trained and worked really hard since that fateful day when I hit the wall so that I could save you and your family from suffering what we did. But that's only part of the story. You see, I'll never forget the day that one of Canada's top neurosurgeons told me my son, my beautiful 4-year-old, would never walk, talk, or pass high school because he was literally missing a good 20% of his brain tissue. Now, I even then had a more comprehensive education and background, so I asked the question, what about neuroplasticity? That's the ability of the brain to change and grow and heal. The neurosurgeon yelled at me, "No, no, you don't understand. It's gone. It's gone. I tell you, it's never coming back." I was like, okay, I will never mention that word to him again. However, his answer was completely unacceptable to me. With or without his help, I was determined that my son would heal, seemingly against all odds. And I would do, and I did whatever it took, whatever I needed to, in order to make my vow a reality. Now, here's the thing. I was on my own because no one believed me, or hardly anyone, I should say. I was accused of being delusional, in denial, an abusive mother, even because I kept my son working on rehab and tutoring every day after school and during holidays, right from the age of 4. There was no or hardly any support system because no one believed that it was possible, except the Rockstar Therapy team that I assembled who believed in neuroplasticity as much as I did. Now, I would like to say that it was an overnight success. Instead, it took years of unwavering knowing beyond belief, even, and hard work, along with searching high and low for the answers that would help my son heal against all odds. Fast forward to today. I'm happy to say that we have accomplished my goal of helping my son heal. He who wasn't supposed to walk, talk, or pass high school has gone way beyond. He did all three of those. And he just graduated as an engineer from one of the best universities in the world, despite still missing 20% of his brain. He thanks me now, by the way, because he realizes the gift in his injury and the hard work in healing that has given him the strength and the endurance to keep going when the going gets tough and so many other people give up. And I am so very happy to report that this wasn't just a freak success, a unicorn, as they call it, because I have since applied these answers to clients worldwide to phenomenal success. And you could say even so-called miraculous results on supposedly incurable diseases like autoimmune diseases like multiple sclerosis and Graves' disease, severe pain, and more. And I've come to recognize that every condition is healable with total belief in the possibility, along with the right answers and tools. And if it's not healing, it's not because it's impossible. It's because one of those is missing. For my clients who have had setbacks in their careers, I guide them to bounce back and use the experience to propel them to even greater success, what I call the magnified rebound. So if you're feeling like you're stuck in a life of suffering and that it's impossible to climb out, think of my son. If he can succeed as he has done, missing 20% of his brain, what can you do? You are only limited by what you believe you can or can't do. Now, the trauma of that near fatal car accident became my trial by fire, where I emerged transmuted with a powerful purpose and mission to help my family heal against all odds, and then the world. That is why I am on a mission to guide you and others to shift from stress to success in all areas of your lives, to help as many people and families as possible avoid the fate that my family suffered, so that my family's suffering will have been worthwhile. To show you it is very possible to have the highest success and fulfillment without sacrificing your health, energy, or personal life. So if this resonates with you, if you want these results for yourself, a loved one, or those in your care, ask me about what the success shift formula can do for you. As I learned the hard way, it's smart to ask for help. I am in your corner.